Hello, and welcome to a special episode of Bombchu News. I'm Austin, and here with me is Chris.
Hello.
And it's E3 week. We missed the weekend, so we are going to do a recap of what happened over the weekend, as well as everything that happened today. And let's dive right into it. If you're used to us normally having very short news, very to the point, this is going to be a little bit different just because E3 is such a crazy busy time. We're going to try to cover everything as fast as we can, but we have several press conferences to go over, so bear with us. So starting off, we have EA's press conference. Chris, what did you think of that?
I wasn't that surprised by a lot of what they had to show. Obviously, they were going to spend a lot of time talking about Battlefront 2. That's kind of their big Star Wars thing they're pushing right now.
One thing that's really nice, they confirmed that all the DLC will be free for Battlefront 2. So
yeah, I think they learned a big lesson from Battlefront 1, and it's nice to see that all of the post-release content is going to be free.
Right. Origin Access is going to be on PS4. That's kind of a nice little something. They were actually originally planning for that to be on PS4, and Sony was not interested in it, so they went with Xbox instead. So it's I'm guessing that's been successful enough that Sony...
Yeah, it obviously made a big enough impact to make Sony pay attention to it.
Yeah. Anthem from BioWare looks really cool.
Yeah, I need to know more about it, I think.
It's a co-op shooter with jetpacks. What else do you need to know?
Well, I mean, given BioWare's recent track record, I need to know
sure.
which studio was working on it specifically.
Yeah, it's true. Still, I feel like with the Mass Effect games, the co-op was not really... It was just kind of a tacked-on thing. It wasn't part of the main game.
It was never what the game was designed for.
Yeah, this looks like it's taking on Destiny more so. They have my interest. And then they had that co-op game from the developers of Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. What was the name of that game again?
All right, the game is called A Way Out.
And A Way Out, that's right.
Yeah, it looks really fucking good.
It's split screen only, and you can play it online or local, but you have to play multiplayer, and you have to be able to see what your partner is doing. Considering Brothers is basically a single-player game, a co-op game playable by yourself, I think I'm really interested to see what they do with this. This seems like it could be really cool.
Yeah, I mean, just the idea of a co-op Prison Break style scenario is just a really cool idea that we haven't really seen anything like that before, so...
Yeah.
It's nice to see EA coming out with something new and interesting.
So, between that and the Microsoft conference, Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer kind of squeaked out somewhere.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I didn't see that in any of the official press conferences, but it kind of came out at the same time. It's nice to see the fans of that series finally getting a third entry rather than a remastered something card game now. I don't know. That franchise went to some weird places.
Yeah, it did. As for Microsoft, of course, Project Scorpio got revealed as the Xbox One X. It's $500 coming in November. But what surprised me, it's by far the smallest Xbox console. It's surprisingly small.
Yeah, and it's nice to see there's a lot of 4K updates coming to a lot of titles so that people will actually be able to take advantage of the power that this thing supposedly puts out.
Well, even without the 4K updates, any games that had like dynamic resolution or variable frame rates will be able to take advantage of the additional power, which is also really cool. Original Xbox is getting backwards compatibility on it.
It's about time they finally got that going.
Hopefully it will work a little bit better than original Xbox on 360.
Yeah.
Because some of those worked well, a lot of those worked very differently. They hadn't really nailed down their emulation.
Yeah, it seemed like they had a lot of trouble with that early on.
One thing that was really cool that they mentioned was the original Xbox, the 360, and the Xbox One will all be able to system link together for original Xbox games.
Yeah, that's a nice thing that they didn't need to include that, but it's nice that it's there.
Yeah, and it also kind of goes to show it's really running original code. They actually spent a great deal of... They spent a lot of time just showing off games.
Yeah, I was really surprised at how much... I was expecting to see the Xbox One X and not a whole lot else.
Yeah, Cuphead is finally coming out.
Yeah, I was going to say, I hadn't heard about anything about this game, and then I realized I had heard something about it. It had just been so long ago that I assumed it had gotten canceled.
Yeah, so that's finally coming out. I can't wait for that. That'll one thing I really liked about Microsoft, I wasn't excited for their conference up until kind of the last minute, and I realized, oh wait, Microsoft games are also going to be on PC. Crackdown 3, Terry Crews... I'm very excited.
I'm all for that. I mean, I'm just surprised that Crackdown 3 is alive. I kind of thought they had forgotten about that series.
I was
for a while.
worrying about it a little bit, but I'm glad that they're keeping it around. Metro is getting a new game in its series called Exodus.
That trailer was bullshit. Not gameplay. Gameplay my ass.
I'm not too into. Like, I want to like the Metro games, but I just.
I'm very
really
on the fringe of that kind of fan base. Those games always look great. They look like they're really interesting to get into. Just
very
never
visually
could
pleasing.
Get into it.
Just very interesting to look at. Just I don't enjoy playing it. But so that was kind of cool to see.
Yeah, and the game looks beautiful. It looks great. I'm assuming it was running on the One X, so I'm sure that's going to be a powerhouse game for that because those games have always looked beautiful. So
Minecraft, I wouldn't normally talk about this, but kind of an interesting point came through. It's getting crossplay with mobile, PC, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, even. Just basically all the current platforms except for PlayStation. I'm interested to see what happens with that.
Yeah, Sony has to react to this because the fans of those games are going to be extremely upset that they can play this with literally everyone except for anyone who's playing on Sony.
And they also know that Microsoft is down for the crossplay. It's all in Sony's court.
There's no one else to blame except for Sony for this.
Yeah. So, I mean, if anything can push them to do it, it seems like Minecraft would be the one, but we'll see what happens. They showed a good number of indie games, and one of them, it was called The Last Night. Did you manage to see that one?
Yeah, that was that 2D side-scrolling cyberpunk,
like pixel art, kind of like you're trying to escape from. It looked really cool. It had a very. It
reminded
cool
me a lot
style.
of Blade Runner.
Yeah, a little. For sure, a little bit. It reminded me of that as well. Ori and the Blind Forest is getting a sequel. Will of the Wisps.
I did not expect that to be getting a sequel already.
Neither did I. Well, I mean, you say already, but it was kind of a few years ago. I want to say it was 2014 when the first one came out. That's been 3 years.
Yeah, so I guess it has been a few years.
Yeah. It looks gorgeous. I still need to play through the first one. It's high on my to-do list, but other than that, they kind of pushed Mixer a lot, their Twitch competitor. They even had it set up to where if you link your Xbox account with your Mixer account, you get some free Xbox games, including like Rare Replay. That's cool.
That's a smart push. That'll get people to link their accounts, and then since they have the accounts linked, they might as well stream since they're getting these free games for it. So
yeah, exactly.
It's a smart idea.
Sea of Thieves finally got a release date. It's release window early 2018. I'm excited for that, especially because
the game looks
PC.
Really good. I hadn't really seen anything of that before, and I'm hoping the game plays how it looks. It looks like it's a blast to play, but
yeah,
it'll be interesting. Yeah.
Anything that I missed? Those were kind of all the big ones that caught my attention from Microsoft.
Yeah, I mean, they talked about Assassin's Creed Origins, but we'll get to that with Ubisoft more in depth.
I've finally started Assassin's Creed 2, so I've got a ways to go before I can get excited about new ones.
The Artful Escape. Did you see that?
I did see a little trailer for that. Yeah.
That I don't know what that is, but I want to play it. It just there's something about that charm of that weird kid in a spacesuit, and then he's got a mystical guitar, and I don't know what's going on with that game.
I've heard a lot of talk
about
that one. People seem to be looking forward to that one. It didn't catch my eye as much, but I'm sure by the time it comes out that I'll have seen enough about it to be like, oh, I'm excited for it too. But yeah, we'll see.
Oh, and I guess it's worth mentioning PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is a console launch exclusive on the Xbox One, coming out later this year. I don't play the game. I'm slightly interested in it, but I thought it was interesting that they got the launch exclusive on that one.
That's pretty cool. Is that one's not in early access, is it?
It is in early access right now.
That might be why they got the launch exclusive, because Sony has been kind of anti-early access stuff in the past. Okay, so next up is Bethesda and paid mods.
Yeah, you guys don't mind the last time we did this. That was a different thing. This is the Creation Club.
They said last time that they were intent on making it work, so I guess this is them making that happen.
This is them making good on their word, I guess. I just don't know how to feel about it. I like the idea of mod creators being able to get paid for their work. Mm-hmm. It's a good idea. I don't know how you implement that in a way that doesn't screw people over.
It's a can of worms that all these problems have been gone over the last time. we'll see what happens. I don't know enough about this new push for it to know.
They never even said specifically in what we saw what those points, how you get those points to spend on mods.
You know it's money.
I mean, I know it's going to be money, but it's interesting they didn't specifically say, hey, it costs this many
because they
dollars.
didn't want people to go, what the hell?
Yeah.
Skyrim is going to be on the Switch, of course, but it turns out it has motion controls. That's pretty cool. That's kind of the first time that's happening. And amiibo support. It will.
Yeah, I was interested to see that.
Yeah, you can scan in Zelda amiibo and get things like the Master Sword, the Hylian Shield, Link's tunic from Breath of the Wild, different stuff like that. They didn't say. I don't know if that's everything you can get, but it seemed like that leaves a lot of opportunity for other stuff as well. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a cool little thing. It's something that differentiates this version of Skyrim from the 50 other versions you've already bought.
Doom is getting a full VR campaign.
Oh god, that looks nausea-inducing.
That'll be something.
I mean, at least it's a different game than the standalone game, so it's not going to be, I'm assuming it's not going to be as fast-paced or as frenetic as
Is it a different game?
Was. Yeah, it's a VR experience.
Okay.
Because you could see in the footage it's using the teleport to move thing that you always see with every VR game.
Gotcha.
So it has to be, I'm assuming, a different kind of experience. So.
Because I know Resident Evil 7 was, like, that VR campaign was, it's straight up, it's the main game, just you have a VR headset.
Yeah, and that's the same thing they're doing with the Fallout.
Yeah, so VR, Fallout 4 as well, yeah. And both of those are going to be HTC Vive exclusive. I don't... it's just because of that big lawsuit with Oculus. Evil Within 2 is coming. I thought that was going to be announced last year, but they juked me, and that's coming this year.
Good trailer. But the trailer for the first game looked good too, and that game had a lot of problems.
It had a lot of cool stuff, but it did have a lot of problems.
But I mean, any new survival horror game, especially from someone with a pedigree like that, I'm always interested. But after how weird and not great the first game turned out to be, I'm a little more cautious on this one.
One thing I'm not cautious about is Wolfenstein 2.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that trailer blew me
incredible.
away. So if you haven't played the first game, then just be careful listening for the next minute or so. But at the end of the first game, I had no idea how they would do a sequel. I desperately wanted one, but yeah. I was like, well, there's no way that they could.
Like, there's nothing. Where do you go from here? Because he's and so they managed to solve that issue. And on top of that, I was like, well, even if they managed to do another game, like, they couldn't really match the feel and the atmosphere and everything that's so good about this one. Well, it felt like they had really captured lightning in a jar with that first one. It was just such a perfect storm of everything just kind of working. Did
you play, it was New Order, and then The Old Blood was that expansion for it?
No, I never did get around to The Old Blood.
It just was not... That's what had me worried about a sequel. And I guess that was probably from a different developer or from kind of the B team, or they just didn't have as much time with it or something.
That was the general vibe I got from it, was that it was kind of the B team side of Bethesda was working on that.
Yeah, so that had me worried about it. I'm very excited for that game.
It was goofy in all the right ways. It was epic when it needed to be.
And he still had that little inner monologue of just like saying really dark shit to himself.
Yeah, exactly. You could see a lot of influence of Doom on the gameplay. It seems to be sped up to kind of match that pace that players are used to now from Bethesda shooters.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole presentation on Wolfenstein 2 was just perfect.
And the song pick, Donka Shane.
Yeah, it was just great. They know how to sell those Wolfenstein games, and I never thought I'd get to a point where I would be that excited for a new Wolfenstein game.
Right. Well, that takes us to Ubisoft.
Oh boy. This one was weird.
I mean, let's just come out right out of the gate. The Mario Rabbids crossover.
Yeah, that
I had all the leaks, and I had no expectation of liking this game at all.
No,
I thought this was going to be just a stupid like Mario and Sonic at the Olympics kind of shit.
To me, I was expecting something along the lines of like a bad Mario and Luigi game. like Superstar Saga spin-off type game. I was expecting something more along those lines. I was not expecting Mario XCOM.
No, I was. Oh my goodness! Like I got chills watching it. Like just seeing Mario do all this badass stuff. Of just
and just destructible terrains, and Mario's moving around with tactics, and I don't.
They somehow managed to make that fit because like you wouldn't expect to make that work. Like how do you give Mario guns, things like that?
Yeah, but nothing about this should work.
Like the atmosphere, everything, the environment, all of it. And why who would think, oh well, let's make a Mario game with the Rabbids, and who would take that and go XCOM?
Yeah, I mean, I was fully expecting like Mario Party minigames or a Rabbids style compilation game.
Yeah,
just Mario tactical shooter was not a thing I ever thought I would see, let alone be excited about.
Oh man, yeah, I'm very interested in that game, and it's coming out pretty soon. I want to say that's in August.
Yeah, that was August of this year. So
Beyond Good and Evil 2. It's very different than the first one. I mean, it's a prequel, of course, but it's like a very different tone, atmosphere.
Assumingly different gameplay based on what we were shown.
Probably. Yeah, probably so. So I'm interested to see what they're going to do with it, or how fans are going to receive it.
Yeah, I mean, we still don't have a release date. They still didn't show anything of gameplay. I'm assuming this is still quite a ways away.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, given as many times as that game's been delayed and half canceled, I just hope it actually comes out at some point.
All right, well, that catches us up through the weekend. Sorry, were there any other Ubisoft things that you saw that caught your eye?
I'm looking over my notes. Oh, Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones looks really good.
I just want to play Sea of Thieves, though.
Yeah, but this looks good,
but
too.
Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, but this is the more serious pirate.
Yeah, but it's Ubisoft, and anytime they do a new IP, it is terrible, and no one wants to play it until the second one when they fix everything.
They've already got all their work done for them. They've already got the engine from Black Flag. They already got all the models from Black. They're just taking all the good bits of Black Flag and cutting out all the Assassin's Creed shit.
Yeah, I'm not sold. We'll see.
I'm cautiously optimistic.
Could be good. If it's good,
because like you said, it is Ubisoft. So there's that certain expectation of this might not be so good.
Onward to Sony. The first thing that really caught my eye there was Monster Hunter World. And
yeah, I mean, obviously that was the big one.
The whole time I was watching that, it was like, is this like at first I thought it was a Dark Souls game because of the kind of the movement of running. I was like, this looks like familiar. And then I was like, oh, maybe is this Monster Hunter? All these, his big thing, and he's fighting dinosaurs, and all the dinosaurs look too generic. And I was like, okay, it's not that. And all of a sudden, the Rathian showed up, and I was like, oh my god, it's Monster Hunter.
Yeah, it's about time they finally brought this over to like a main Monster Hunter release on a powerful console.
I don't think that they said it was exclusive. I didn't catch whether it was or not, so I'm really, really hoping for this on PC.
The only other info we got for it was an early 2018 release date. Was all the only other thing they said for it.
Either way, they've got my attention. Shadow of the Colossus is being remade.
Question mark?
Yeah, it looked very, very similar to the HD version on PS3.
Yeah, see, I'm not familiar enough with the original to know if this is just a straight remaster or is it a remake or
see,
what
if it were a remaster, it seems like it would not be. Like, they wouldn't have to do such a huge trailer for it to be like, oh, and it's coming sometime next year because we have to put all this work in on a remaster. So I'm leaning towards remake. It's just, it doesn't look all that different. I don't know.
We need something more. I don't know.
Yeah, there
just wasn't enough there.
Skyrim VR is, of course, coming to PlayStation VR. Motion controls will be there as well. No word on if that's going to be on PC. They're doing this Final Fantasy 15 fishing VR game called Monster of the Deep.
I only caught part of that, and I thought I was in a fever dream, and I was back in the Dreamcast days, and I didn't know what was going on.
Okay, God of War has a new game coming out, and it looks a lot like Tomb Raider, but with a melee focus.
The World Serpent looked cool at the end.
I like
that it confirms the Norse gods and setting. It's God of War. It's kind of exactly what you'd expect, just a different setting.
See, you say that, but it's got the combat felt different to me.
It looked sped up, but at its base, it looked like the same.
It looked slowed down to me. And it was much more like close quarters. Like, he doesn't have his whips. He's got this, his main weapon is this short axe.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot more intimate combat.
Yeah, it just kind of seemed like everything else. I don't know. It seemed to be making itself a little more samey and more homogenous with the other action-adventure games of today.
It seems like they're trying to put a surprising amount of focus on the story, which I guess if the story's well done, that's a good choice, but I can't, other than maybe the first one, I can't say any of the God of War games have had an amazing story.
They were just about doing awesome stuff at an epic scale.
It was just, everything in God of War is just an excuse to get Kratos to fight something big.
One that really caught my eye was Detroit.
David Cage alert. David Cage alert.
No, it didn't seem like a David. Yeah, so it reminded me more of Until Dawn than the David Cage games.
But it's a David Cage game.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, there's a reason you didn't see that, because they know his name is Poison.
How do you know it's a David Cage game?
Because he's been talking about Detroit Become Human for a long time.
Really?
Yeah, he's just been trying to hide more recently that this is him, because everybody knows how much everybody hates David Cage.
Well,
yeah, that trailer was very well designed. It was a very well designed trailer, like every David Cage game. It looks great.
Damn it.
As long as you're not playing it.
Well, damn. I'm not as excited.
Maybe it'll be good.
I hope it will be good. If it's not, I won't be as disappointed now.
I mean, it just depends on whether or not he's keeping a creepy diary about his lead actress.
Oh, Jesus. Moving on. We got Spider-Man Arkham Asylum, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it fits.
In fact, until they showed that it was from Insomniac, I thought that game was from Rocksteady. Like,
yeah, it might as well have been.
The combo system, the string ups, all the gadgets and stuff like that were basically
the traps. Yeah.
Yeah. There were some other nice little touches, mobility-wise especially. But even then, I mean, like, Batman had some. It just felt a lot like Arkham Asylum. I mean, it looks good, but it's also
and like I said, it fits with the character, the Spider Sense. That fits.
Yeah, it definitely fits. Other than that, I mean, they spent a lot of time showing games. They did a lot of PlayStation VR games that they didn't really show a whole lot.
They didn't. They showed a lot of VR games, but not enough of the actual VR part.
Yeah.
It just kind of looked like trailers for games that happen to be on VR.
And it's like, are these games that we can play without VR? Because, I mean, the VR audience is still not huge. I understand they want to push that, but dedicating that much time to just VR games...
and with no real info. Everything about their VR showcase was just kind of vague information of,
a lot of their games had very little info. It was just like, here's a trailer, here's another trailer. They just did trailer after trailer for most of it.
Yeah, and it was all kind of vague 2018 release dates. I didn't see a whole lot coming out this year.
Yeah. So
I mean, they had the Uncharted spin-off, Lost Legacy is coming out this year, and the DLC for Horizon Zero Dawn is coming out this year. Other than that, I don't remember anything else that they had coming out.
Yeah, it's gonna probably be a bit of a down year for Sony.
I guess they're really trying to bank on the VR sales picking up.
And that kind of gets us caught up to now. Tomorrow we have Nintendo at 11 our time, 11 a.m. And I'm very excited to see what they have to show off. They only have like a half-hour press
they have
conference,
about a half hour, and then they're kicking over to
Live.
Which will be all streaming and playing.
And supposedly there will be more surprises at Treehouse Live, but I have a hard time watching Treehouse Live. So I may just have to let you watch that, Chris.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
Just tell me anything that happens that's important.
Yeah, I get to watch Reggie try to interact with us normal humans.
Oh, I mean, last year they spent so much time there playing Pokemon Sun and Moon. It was so painful. Just
and
like
that's all they're going to be playing this year.
Yeah, they're going to do Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and it's just like...
and there's going to be a Pokken tournament. Yay. I get to watch Pokken Fighters, but it's the DX version, so it's better.
Well, that about covers it for today. We will see you tomorrow.
Bye.